Always keep safety in the back of your mind. Just stay humble.
For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
As far back as I could remember, I always knew everyone in our government was a gangster.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Thinking Logically. I'm your host, Joseph Anthony Corsai. The day is Thursday, April 25th, year of our Lord, 2024. And if you've been following the news cycle, you probably noticed that Pennsylvania went right from primary season
Beaver
to
County Radio, your hometown radio station. You're listening live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, proud to call Beaver County home.
Still here. You probably noticed that Pennsylvania went right from primary season to protest season. We're going to get all into all that and more, but first, we have a little surprise for you guys. And our audience, I guess. Mark, you're familiar with the Fastest 3 Minutes by Chris Berman. There's a draft today. People's minds might not be on politics exactly today since the Steelers are picking, and that's fine. A little bread and circus is okay here and there. But in the spirit of Chris Berman and the NFL draft being today, we're going to give you a quick recap of the last few days' events with a twist. So, Mark, are you ready? We can't put...
In the words of our good friend, DJ Fry, owner of Fry Transportation, let's rock and roll.
All right, so we're just going to do it naturally in studio. The fastest 2 minutes in political news. It's the fastest 2 minutes in political news brought to you by Simone Imports. We start in the nation's capital where the commanders-in-chiefs, a.k.a. Joe Biden, is on the clock to pass a Buffalo bill that will ban the social media app TikTok if it's not sold to an American company. And next, we move to New York City, where the GOP conference champion, Donald John Trump, is on trial for his life and isn't allowed to leave the state on his jets. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, they are already in mid-riot season form as the New York giant protests between the Jews and Muslims have officially kicked off. This could be a big problem for the Biden administration. And finally, we go back to the all-American social media platform X, where Vice President Troy Polamalu Harris tweeted out that, quote, no one should be jailed for using marijuana. But wait. Tick. Community Notes has thrown out the red challenge flag on the claim. And after further review, we learned that while AG from the 2011 to 2017 seasons, she put over 1,900 people in prison yards for exactly that. And the mainstream media will continue to ignore this story and write puff pieces about the vice president because, remember, nobody, and I mean nobody, circles the wagons like the loony left. Mark, sending it back to you.
Joe, fantastic work on the fastest 2 minutes. You are correct. No one circles the wagon quite like the loony left. We have a jam-packed episode today. So many topics to go over as we approach the first round of the NFL draft tonight. I'm ready to talk some politics, Joe. How about you?
I am. I can't wait, actually. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's go. Let's talk about what we've seen take over the nation the last week or so. And it's these, I don't know what you call them, riots, sit-ins, protests, whatever you want to describe them as. They have been taking the nation by storm from sea to shining sea, from the river to the sea, Joe. We've seen these protests get violent from University of Southern California to the University of Texas at Austin to the University of Pittsburgh, all the way to New York City, Columbia, and NYU. Joe, is it another summer of love?
I don't understand. Joe Biden can end this tomorrow by just throwing some student loan money at the protesters and end this. Again, the people on the side of the Palestinians, some of which I'm sure are very good people, and you have people that are also good people on both sides, I guess, as a former president has said. Anyway, you can't allow violence, Mark. I'm going to suggest now, it's probably too late to nip this in the bud, but if you're the people protesting for what's going on in Palestine and Gaza, you got to police yourself with the violence. Look, I won't even rule out that it really is a lot of peaceful people there that want to bring attention to Palestine and Gaza. But who's doing the violence then? And I'm going to say it. Why are there so many white people there? From what I saw and heard, most of the people interviewed have no idea what they were there talking about, or even why they were there to protest. Like I said, they were just all white women. This seems like Chaz 2.0, if you remember, for the Summer of Love 2020, like you said, except instead of an all-white contingent of Black Lives Matter people, it's a bunch of white women, like I said, protesting for Palestine. Also, why are they wearing masks? COVID's gone. Are they trying to hide their identities for some other reason? Mark, what do you think?
I have a couple opinions on this, Joe. First of all, it seems like that these college presidents aren't going to tolerate any type of protest against Israel. They have brought in the police. They brought in security. Where did I see someone's ready to deploy the National Guard? You know, for example, at Pitt, here at the University of Pittsburgh, it has been, from what I've seen, mostly peaceful. They were in the Cathedral of Learning. The university asked them to relocate to a lawn area outside of that, somewhere else on campus, and they did. Their entire encampment is encircled by Palestinian flags with names of those who have died in Gaza on the flags. They have, actually, I read today there's a Jewish professor there at Pitt that celebrated a Seder meal with other protesters, which is great. But in other places, like in USC, in Austin, Texas, it has gotten a little violent. And also, I think in New York City as well. Columbia University, Joe, Ivy League school, $89,000 a year to go there. They came out and made a statement saying the rest of their semester, from whatever is left, is online. I don't know why they just didn't let these protesters go and let it fizzle out. School is almost over. Finals are coming up. I think Pitt's graduation is this coming weekend, if I'm not mistaken. Why not just let it fizzle out? Let these people protest. Let them do what they're going to do without being violent. That's my take on it. I think they should be allowed to express their opinion and protest on this issue without, as long as they are peaceful about it. That's my take. So I think a lot of the issues we're seeing, a lot of the things we're seeing on social media and whatnot, have been brought on by these university presidents who, like I said, school's almost over. Why not just let it go? Fizzle out.
You mentioned Columbia. Did you see the Jewish professor? I think it was, what was he? Wasn't allowed on campus or didn't feel safe on campus? What exactly was the? Yeah, it was at Columbia. Where is Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama? He is a Columbia. That's his alma mater. I think I don't know if he went to grad school there, or if that was where he went to college or what, but he's an alumni there, and he has yet to speak out about this whole situation, which is odd. If this was Trump, I mean, he'd be facing flack if this is going on at a university Trump went to for not speaking out. And then what is with this? It's the president. She was just in front of Congress not too long ago. What is her name? Hold on. Let me find it here. Mark, you're going to have, I don't know if I can even pronounce. Should we just call her she, her?
Yes, just call her she, her. The president of Columbia.
It's Shafek or Shafiq. I have no idea. But Obama might be the reason why she got hired at Columbia. And then she's out here not doing anything. You got to make a move. You got to do something. And I don't think canceling classes for the last 2 or 3 weeks of the semester that's not the move you want to make, I don't think. You know, that doesn't show strength.
And a lot of these protesters, like you said, they couldn't find the West Bank on a map if you gave them 10 tries. We heard some audio of some protesters, I believe they were at NYU. They didn't even know why they were protesting.
They didn't.
So keep in mind, I think it was Stephen Miller that tweeted this on X. These are future judges. These are future prosecutors. These are future school administrators that you are seeing basically, take a position and will probably carry those beliefs with them throughout the rest of their lives.
Yeah. It's just there's so many angles. It's amazing to me how it pops up at all these universities at the same time. It goes viral, like it spreads like a virus, just so quick like that. It was at Pitt before we even really knew anything was going on.
It does spread, and that's the crazy thing. It's like that's what social media does today, and this has been nationwide. And do you see this going on any further, Joe? After school is finished here in another week or two?
Yeah, why not? It just might not be at colleges. It might be like in the streets again, like it was in 2020.
That's a good point. I was kind of referring to college campuses, but yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you might see massive protests in cities because Israel was supposed to make a move on the Rafah refugee camp, I believe, in the next few days, from what we've been reading.
Yeah, New York City is probably fun right now. You got that going on, Trump trial. I mean, we had a guy literally light himself on fire a week ago. This is going to be a fun summer. Probably more fun than 2020.
Yeah, but it's like I heard today. It's just like the summer of what was that, Joe? 68, where we saw protests and riots on campuses. Bobby Kennedy was running for president.
He died.
So we're seeing a lot of similarities. And then also you look back to 2020, another presidential year. 2024, here we are again. Who knows what the summer is going to hold for this type of thing.
All right, let's cover this Trump trial real quick before we move on to take a break. So this Trump trial, again, if you've been listening, this is a show trial. Do you really think they would they would go through all of this just to let him get off? No. My question is, where are the Republicans? Why did Mike Johnson go to Colombia? What's he going to do there? He got heckled, I think. Nothing's going to happen. Just like when they went to the border, nothing will happen. There's no reason for Mike Johnson to go to Colombia. Maybe go to New York City, walk into the courtroom, and sit behind Trump. Wait for a break in the action and ask him for some advice on what to do. I have to know, why don't Republicans have the back of Donald Trump like Jamie Raskins and all these Dems have Biden's back? Mr. Biblical Worldview, Mike Johnson, how about you get biblical and start making it rain subpoenas for these people? Flood them with subpoenas. Merrick Garland, everyone on the January 6th committee, Jack Smith. Let's see some of their email exchanges. You want to talk about collusion with the Department of Justice and the Biden administration? Let's accuse them of collusion then. Let's fight fire with fire. Let's let these people know that when we win this fall, we are coming after them. Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, members of Congress. Mark, anything before we move on to a funny clip and then we have to head out?
Mike Johnson he's just so soft, it seems like. And you're right, Joe. Why don't they have Trump's back? Imagine if this was Biden on trial. Every Democrat known to man would be out there defending him to no end. You don't hear one Republican that it's other than, the core group of Marjorie Taylor Greene and those people that are actually sticking up for President Trump, which is sad.
And I don't know why. Okay. Also, Judge Merchan, that was the only thing that came out from the last 2 days since we've been gone. Judge Merchan, I believe he denied Trump's legal team request to have Stormy Daniels testify. Yeah, they were going to subpoena documents from Stormy Daniels, I guess, and it was
How can
denied.
he deny that?
I don't know. I have no idea. Like, he can, though, I guess.
Trump's lawyers believe these documents would show bias against Trump, prior inconsistent statements.
Nope, can't have it. Sorry. But everyone, he can't even talk about this. He can't even talk about the case, or he faces the gag order. You have to remember, he can't even speak out about how this is unfair. Seems fair.
Like we said last episode, you have things that happened over 10 years ago. They were trying to get him for election interference on this case. Again, if I'm the defense, all I need to do is ask the jury, why is this trial occurring right now?
Yeah, why right now? All right, like I said, everyone else is allowed to talk about it but Trump, and we're going to play an audio right now from Chris Christie talking about Trump. Ryan, whenever you get a
criminal trial is a really awful thing to go through. And if you look at Trump physically right now, he looks terrible.
Listen to this parade float of a person that can't even fit into a suit. I mean, he has to wear a bed sheet and a tie. Look, you can't see because it's video. He looks like he's reclining in a hospital bed and glancing at his toes for one last time. I mean, the chair he's on is sweating profusely, okay? What a slob Chris Christie is. But again, that's the point. Everyone else can talk about it, from the mainstream media to slobs like Chris Christie. Trump, he talks about it, he goes to jail. Okay, we're going to take a break, but when we return, Joe Biden made a surprise appearance on the hit show Ghost Hunters yesterday, a.k.a. he tried to shake hands with a ghost again. What does the ghost think? We'll have a seance live here in studio to find out when we return here to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP.
Beaver County Transit Authority connects you to where you want to be. The doctor's office or well-deserved shopping spree will take you to wherever you please. Safe, no fuss, leave the driving to us. Hop on, adventures coming your way.
The Beaver County Transit Authority Fast Forward Summer Pass is back in 2024. The application opens online at bcta.com or in person at the Rochester Transportation Center on May 11. The days are getting longer and the weather is warming up. Don't miss your chance to travel around Beaver County and even into Pittsburgh all summer long. Children ages 6 to 21 ride free between June 1st and August 31st.
Safe, no fuss, leave the driving to us. Adventures just a ride away. Beaver County Transit Authority, BCTA. Ride the bus.
It started with a road trip into the American Midwest. Huntington bankers with one mission: to understand how people made sense of money. And that's how we met Jason.
How do I save money? Jars. Whatever loose cash I have at the end of the day goes into the concert tickets jar, the vacation jar. You get it.
And that's how we came up with personalized goals for your savings accounts. Our customers give us the best ideas. Huntington, welcome. Member FDIC. Learn more at huntington.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically on 99.3 WBVP, sponsored by Mitchell's Jewelers. Mitchell's Jewelers, where their jewelry always outshines the competition. Again, our views are amazing. If you'd like to call in and debate our views or agree with our views, the number to call in is 724-843-1888. Again, 724-843 or 774-1888. Again, 724-843-1. And what Chris Christie did during that entire interview we just played. 888. Okay, Joe Biden is officially on the campaign trail, which means this show is about to play a lot more sound bites over the next few weeks. And we're going to start right now. Ryan, when you get a chance, play the next Joe Biden audio, please.
What we can do next. 4 more years.
In case you didn't hear, he said 4 more years, pause. Is this idiot now reading the stage directions? Again, I'll quote him one more time. 4 more years, pause. The pause was supposed to give the fake audience a chance to chant 4 more years. And he completely...
He's literally Ron Burgundy.
The guy will read anything on the cue cards.
He's actually a mix between like Brick Tamlin and Ron Burgundy.
He is.
Rotting bag of oatmeal.
What else? What else did he say? Oh, that's what he said. Ryan, play the next clip and see if our audience can figure it out.
Will teach Donald Trump and extreme MAGA Republicans a valuable lesson. Don't mess with the women of America. Amen.
What? Don't mess with who? The aluminum Americans? Maybe middle America? I guess you could mess with lower class America, then that's fine, or upper class America. What is going on? Why can't this guy speak? All right. Go ahead, Mark. I'll give you a chance to say something.
Yeah, I'm actually have like tears in my eyes right now. I'm laughing so hard. and this is not the first time we've heard these things.
Speaking of not the first time, we're going to play the next clip. Ryan, just play the next Joe Biden audio. Actually, that's him. You have to see the video. I'm not even sure why I had Ryan play that audio. This is radio and you can't see what's happening. But Biden turned around after a speech and tried to shake hands with a ghost, and of course, no one was there. Actually, I guess it doesn't even matter if we did have video. It's a ghost that Joe Biden is reaching for. Also, you can't see in the video, but the background says Restore Roe, which is weird because for like the last 5 episodes, I feel like every episode we covered that this is a state issue. This is what they're going to campaign on, abortion, which again is a state issue. And let's not forget climate change. You wonder why this guy just doesn't do it like he did during COVID and just hide in the basement, why he's out campaigning, because this is his social media campaign right here. Anyone from Joe Biden at POTUS on X, anyone who willingly denies the impacts of climate change is condemning the American people to a dangerous future. And in my head, I'm literally just thinking, this guy flies on Air Force One from D.C. to Delaware every weekend, and he wants to talk climate change? Mark, whatever happened to Amtrak Joe? Joey, baby.
This sounds like a question for Karine Jean-Pierre that Peter Doocy should ask in the briefing room next time they have a White House press conference. But he is just so shocked. I mean, how could anyone vote for him when they hear him make these statements? He's in complete mental decline. He actually has declined. He's no longer in decline. He has declined. Ah, man. I mean, imagine if he wins, Joe, and imagine he spends 4 more years in the White House, where he's going to be. I mean, he won't be able to make public appearances.
He doesn't really do it now. He trips over stuff, and they have to write everything on the index card, where to go. No, You sit here and stand.
Yeah. Well, the video of him in Tampa that our listeners could not see because it's radio was classic. There wasn't anyone else on stage with him. He turned around and acted like he was shaking hands with somebody, and then he did that little Biden shuffle.
The Biden shuffle is nice, though.
Great. It's great. It's a signature move.
Did you see what he did with TikTok? He signed
the bill to ban.
Yeah, he signed the executive order, but people forget, and this is from the New York Times, and I can only read a few snippets of it because I refuse to pay for the New York Times. This is from 2021. President Joe Biden, revokes and replaces Trump order that banned TikTok. The new order calls for a broader review of a number of foreign-controlled applications that could pose a security risk to Americans and their data. I mean, this guy's flip-flopping around like a fish out here, going back and forth on everything, and the media is not even covering this. Cover it the right way. Cover it the right way. When you talk about Joe Biden doing this, remind people that 3 years ago he did the exact opposite thing. Why now? What?
Well, I look at this like I look at the protests on college campuses as a binary issue. How does this help Trump? How does this hurt Trump? By the way, breaking news as of about a half hour ago, USC cancels graduation ceremony as college officials worry about pro-Palestinian protest disruptions.
they're just worried.
The University of Southern California, Joe. Imagine 4 years you went to school there, you paid all that tuition, and now your graduation ceremony just got canceled. So how did the protests on college campuses help Trump? How do they hurt Trump? How does banning TikTok on behalf of the White House, that should help Trump. If you are 18 to 25, you're probably on TikTok a lot. And now it's going to be most likely banned unless ByteDance divests itself from the company. But apparently, the Biden administration is going to continue using TikTok through the election and maybe beyond. So
the hypocrisy is so funny to me. I'm sorry.
It is funny. So again, how does this help Trump? How does this hurt Trump? That's how I look at things anymore. I am completely singularly focused on this election in November.
I just don't like TikTok. You're worried about China spying on your phone through TikTok? What about the government? Remember the FISA bill that just got passed a few weeks ago? They can do whatever they want. And you're worried about TikTok. All right. What did he have to say, Joe Biden have to say on this aid package? This is from Zero Hedge. Biden on Ukraine and Israel aid bill. It's a great day for world peace. And then underneath that, he said, if you want peace, pay $95 billion for war. And that's what it comes down to. We're funding pretty much a proxy war in Ukraine. And then we never got answers from October 7th on how Hamas was able to use hang gliders, glide in and have the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. Shouldn't we be able to get some answers on how that was able? Who dropped the ball on that?
We don't even know where the money is going, Joe.
No, we don't. Just like
they
Ukraine.
Don't know.
Oh, Brian, can you play the Ukrainian audio? It should be the next audio.
In the fight. This weekend, there were reports, I find this amazing, there were reports of cheers breaking out of the trenches in eastern Ukraine. Probably came from one of your folks, a reporter or someone, I'm not sure where it came from. But as they're cheering, as they watch the House vote in support for Ukraine. It's not like they don't understand what we've done. Not like they don't understand how critical this is.
How do they have Wi-Fi in the trenches? Why are they watching a House vote? Americans aren't even doing that. Aren't they looking out for a Russian attack? Yes.
The Hindenburg line.
I mean, you figure trench warfare here. What is this? What happened? How do we go back so far in 4 years that we are now doing we're now funding trench warfare like it's 1916. I hope we don't go over there like happened with Wilson in World War I. I hope we don't get involved, but you keep on spending all this money. I don't understand.
I'm sure they were cheering over there.
They were celebrating.
All the 45-plus-year-old males that they're pulling off the streets to go fight on the front lines against their will. Oh, I'm sure they're cheering their butts off.
By the way, because that's probably just a lie. Speaking of lies, how crazy is it that we still never got a retraction or an answer on the whole cannibals ate my Uncle Brosy lie still? Did you hear this? Somehow it got worse, Mark. I believe the country is Papua New Guinea. I believe that's how you say it. Papua New Guinea. I think they want an apology, and I'm not joking either. I think they want an apology from Joe Biden about what he said. This is from CNN. Biden's controversial cannibalism remarks meet pushback in Papua New Guinea.
He said Biden had appeared to imply his uncle was eaten by cannibals after his plane was shot down over PNG during World War II. This is from the Prime Minister's office of Papua New Guinea. President Biden's remarks may have been a slip of the tongue. However, my country does not deserve to be labeled as such. Amazing.
Remember when, and we can't say it on radio, remember when Trump called certain countries a certain word hole? That was in the news for weeks. I mean, he's kind of accusing Papua New Guinea of being cannibalistic up until the 1950s even, I guess you could say. Are we going to go to war with Papua New Guinea because Biden lied about cannibals eating his uncle? Is he ever going to correct this? Like I said last episode, there was a time in this country where lying like this could cost you the campaign. Michael Dukakis did less. All he did was put on a tank helmet and drop 5 points in the polls. Biden literally claimed his uncle was eaten by cannibals and even listed the country and everything. And the media want you to believe it's nothing. That's normal. He's fine. He's fine. Trump looked up at a solar eclipse for a second in 2017, and the media wanted to know if he was mentally fit. Mark,
the State Department got involved, Joe. They had to respond to the Prime Minister's statement. This is what the rotting bag of oatmeal in the White House, as Dan Bongino calls them, has gotten us into. And imagine what we have left.
Well, imagine what we have next. And that is Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. So Kamala Harris put out a tweet on X that said, nobody should have to go to jail for smoking weed. We must continue to change our nation's approach to marijuana while reforming the justice system so it finally lives up to its name. Maybe not the best time to use the word nuked, but our vice president got absolutely nuked by the community notes on X. Like we said in the fastest 2 minutes, she put over 1,900 people in 6 years in jail just for that. Mark?
Well, I mean, she's not wrong, but it's a complete 180 from her track record as, what was she, Attorney General of California, right?
Yeah.
And a career prosecutor, also in California. So, what did some of the community notes say?
Oh, hold on, I gotta bring it back.
I can't locate it.
Well, I remember I was a former bird watcher. Harris served as California Attorney General from 2011 to 2017, but the vast majority of marijuana related prosecutions were for her. As a district attorney, Kamala Harris oversaw 1,900 convictions for marijuana offenses, some of which resulted in jail time. She's locked up over 1,500 people for marijuana-related offenses when she was California's Attorney General, so on and so forth. So it makes her a hypocrite / liar, just like the president.
Yeah. Well, again, it's like this article says here, this is a great get out the vote mechanism for otherwise uninformed young people who are more apt to vote for Democrat because of the party's stranglehold on pop culture. So,
all right.
Yeah. I mean, anything to get votes.
All right, before we move to the break, I gotta bring this up too. This is from Benny Johnson on X. One of Kamala Harris's armed Secret Service agents got into a fight with another agent at Joint Base Andrews while waiting for the VP to arrive. The agent had to be physically restrained and had the gun taken away from his or her possession. There are reportedly also DEI concerns about the hiring of the agent involved. I don't know if that's true or not. It's from Benny Johnson. But Mark, could we possibly have found who put the bag of cocaine in the White House now?
Certainly possible. If you want to connect the dots, I mean, it doesn't hurt to speculate on something like this, but what the heck happened here?
I don't know. We gotta. It just came out today.
Secret Service.
Huh? Maybe next week we'll have an answer, but don't hold your breath. Okay, when we return, a grand jury has indicted 11 Republicans who submitted a document to Congress declaring that Arizona went for Donald Trump and not Joe Biden in the 2020 election. We'll have the 4 a.m. voter fairy here live in studio to tell his side of the story on how Joe Biden made such a miraculous comeback after election night 2020. Stay tuned.
All families are different, and some have parents or children with little to no eyesight. But this doesn't stop them from sharing the work, play, love, and laughter of family life. Eyesight doesn't define a parent, a child, or a family. What counts is being together. Want to learn more? Visit us on the web at blind.org. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
Here at Beaver County Radio, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WNBA, we just love giving away prizes and making winners out of our listeners on a regular occurrence. If you'd like a complete list of the WBVP and WNBA prize contest rules, just visit beavercountyradio.com.
Beaver County Transit Authority connects you to where you want to be. The doctor's office or well-deserved shopping spree will take you to wherever you please. Safe, no fuss, leave the driving to us. Hop on, adventures coming your way.
The Beaver County Transit Authority Fast Forward Summer Pass is back in 2024. The application opens online at bcta.com or in person at the Rochester Transportation Center on May 11th. The days are getting longer and the weather is warming up. Don't miss your chance to travel around Beaver County and even into Pittsburgh all summer long. Children ages 6 to 21 ride free between June 1st and August 31st.
Safe, no fuss, leave the driving to us. Adventures just a ride away. Beaver County Transit Authority, BCTA. Ride the bus.
It started with a road trip into the American Midwest. Huntington bankers with one mission, to understand how people made sense of money. And that's how we met Dontel.
How do we control cash flow? Calendar, dates marked for invoices, when payroll hits.
It's messy, but it gives us a sense of what's coming.
And that's how we came up with a tool that helps businesses forecast cash flow digitally. Our customers give us the best ideas. Huntington, welcome. Member FDIC. Learn more at huntington.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 WBVP, brought to you by Grossi & Associates. Grossi & Associates, there's a reason why they're voted Best of the Valley year in and year out. It's because they are the collision experts. Ryan, while we were on break, you actually brought up a very good point. Tell our audience.
I was just curious. I was going to ask you guys. I was going to ask Mark as well. You know, why does it seem like a lot of times the government, they just kind of fumble and stumble around, and a lot of times they don't look like they know what they're doing, especially with this current administration. However, after January 6th happened, there was guys and people down, at the Capitol building with their faces covered. You never seen them. I'm watching the same footage that you're watching, but yet they were able to identify each and every single one of these people down to the point to where they were able to go get them, press charges on them, make them pay fines, whatever throw them in jail. But it almost feels like we're being played, because on one hand, the especially again the administration that's in, they fumble around all the time. But yet they're so, they were so right on with identifying every single person in January. How does that happen, Joe?
Everything else catches them by surprise, except for January 6th. They were able to go in there and weed out and find grandmas that waved flags in there for a few minutes. It's a great question. I would love to bring Chris Ray in here as a guest and ask him, hey, how? Because we pay taxes. We're not allowed to have that kind of information.
Yeah,
they just want our money and that's it. Hey, it's classified. I'm sick. I'm getting a little bit sick of that excuse.
You can't identify that the person that's in office is a bumbling fool. But again, you could identify each and every single person to the detail that was on. I just unbelievable to me. It really is.
And even according to the doctor, you brought up about the bumbling here. According to the doctor, he is strong and vigorous, according to Joe Biden's doctor. So
of course.
All right. From the collision experts to conspiracy to commit election fraud. A grand jury has indicted 11 Republicans who submitted a document to Congress declaring that Donald Trump beat Joe Biden in Arizona in the 2020 election. The charges include conspiracy, fraud, and forgery. Mark, do you want to jump in on anything before? Because this goes all the way back, this elector scheme. They say fake electors. They are not fake electors. They are real electors. In a similar situation happened with John F. Kennedy in the 1960 election with Hawaii, where he sent the electors to D.C., and he ended up, if you're old enough to remember, beating Nixon. And the only reason he did was because he actually sent those electors in December of 1960. Mark, what's going on here with them just rounding people up because they say Joe Biden isn't the president or Donald Trump won? That was fine in 2016. It's not today. Why? Mark, you there?
Yes. Oh, I was muted. Sorry. This is from Mike Davis on X. He knows a lot more about this than we do, considering he was a law clerk for Justice Neil Gorsuch, and he's also chief counsel for the Senate Judiciary Committee. He says that it is not a crime to object to a presidential election. This is allowed by the Electoral Count Act of 1887 and the First Amendment. It's definitely a crime to weaponize law enforcement against political enemies, though. Conspiracy against the rights, 18 U.S. Code 241, lawyer up, Biden Democrats. And then the first comment underneath that, Joe, is a GIF. It says, Putin arrests political opponents, tyranny. Democrats arrest political opponents, democracy. Joe, is Mike Davis on the money here with this?
Absolutely, and Mike Davis is a great follow for everything you need regarding the Trump trial, anything. I hate the double standard. I can't stand double standards, and that's what this is. For 4 years, we heard Trump was illegitimate. Trump was this. Trump was that. Russia stole the election. Fast forward to 2020. All of a sudden, they want to mail everyone a ballot. Not even request, not absentee. Don't give me that crap. They want to mail everyone a ballot. We had stories of mail trucks having ballots found in ditches weeks, months before the election. Then on election day, in 7 swing states, they stopped counting all at the same time. What were they there to do that night? They were there to count the votes. And then they blamed it in Georgia on a water main break. It was a toilet that was running. And we don't even know if that was true. And there's video of them pulling suitcases and briefcases out from under tables after everyone supposedly went home. What happened where Joe Biden was able to come back from like 3, 4, 5, 600,000 votes down in PA and win over the next week or two? That's an issue. You're allowed to raise issues on stuff like that. You're allowed to ask questions and say, hey, was this legitimate? Was this legitimate? Fox News called Arizona at 8:30 at night. Trump only won by like Biden only won by 9,000 votes. How'd they know at 9 o'clock at night when the tally wasn't final until 2 weeks later and Biden only won by 9,000? Arizona, a state that didn't go Democrat for like 80 years. There's a lot of questions. Nothing makes sense. The bellwether counties, Biden wins 4. It's never happened before when someone won the presidency. He blew out Obama. Obama never called him up and congratulated him. Hey, wow, you beat my record. You got 81 million votes. Congratulations. It's never spoken of. Why? And then they want to throw these people in jail for the rest of their lives, maybe for forgery and all these crimes? Give me a break. Remember this in 2025. Remember it, because the news media and everyone on the left is going to be screaming when we take control. But we're going to take control and we're going to do to them what they did to us. And I say us because we're all in this together.
Didn't this attorney general just get elected in 2022, Joe?
By like 300 votes. Not even. It was less than 300 votes.
Yes, and think about all the voter disenfranchisement that went on with the voting machines going down, all the irregularities going on in Maricopa County.
I have to just jump in because they gave 9-inch pieces of paper to load into a machine that required 10-inch pieces of paper or vice versa, and they kept on rejecting them. That's how do you print out 9-inch pieces of paper and not know? There was problems with machines in Arizona for 2 years prior to the 2022 election even, and they still had issues. Sorry.
Again, this goes back to all the other things that we've been talking about, Joe. Why did you wait 4 years to bring these charges up? Think logically.
No idea. It's politically motivated. But again, don't let anyone lie. These are legal electors that are being sent. This goes back to the 1960 election. Kennedy sent his own electors from Hawaii. No one went to jail. I mean, I guess Kennedy got executed in the end, but it wasn't for that.
Is Trump named in the suit?
I'm not sure, honestly.
Well, they did name his attorney that's defending him in court right now for this trial.
Was Rudy Giuliani on there too? Another former?
Yes. When I saw this last night, I honestly thought, like, what? How can this be happening again?
It's happening.
It's just unbelievable. Yeah, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Boris Epstein, and Mike Roman. Yeah, this is dead. This is dead. This is dead. This is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. Speaking of not going anywhere, what if I told you that 140 migrants crossed into the country after rioting and breaking through, and they're going to be allowed to go anywhere now? So this is from Robbie Starbuck on X. Remember the horde of illegal immigrants arrested earlier this month after cutting razor wire and pushing border control? Well, El Paso County Judge Ruben Morales just ruled that the state must drop charges for 140 of those migrants. In 48 hours, they'll be released into the U.S. unless ICE picks them up for federal charges. Evidence in the affidavit includes those illegals bum rushing the Border Patrol and identifying that this was a pre-planned event as migrants waited in a group for others to cut the wire before bum rushing Border Control. America is being betrayed from within by judges like this. Absolutely despicable.
So they cut razor wire. They enter the country illegally.
Which Texas isn't allowed to do. Texas isn't allowed to do. But for some reason, illegal immigrants are allowed to cut it and come through. But God forbid Greg Abbott puts the wire up.
How can a county judge rule that they must drop the charges? Why can't a state court rule that?
Apparently it's not a state issue. It's a county issue.
This is unbelievable.
It's only going to get worse. And this is what happens. Like I said, we got a lot of work to do in 2025. You think it's just going to be 4 years? It's going to be a long. But all right, we have to take a break. When we come back, we're going to recap the Pennsylvania primary elections and maybe talk about solar panels, the draft. What else? I don't know. You have to stay tuned. It's Thinking Logically here on 99.3 WBVP.
The warm weather is back, and that can only mean one thing. Pirates baseball for a 76th season is on Beaver County Radio. Make sure you set your radio dial to WBVP and 99.3 FM. Pirate baseball is being presented locally by the St. Barnabas Health System, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Falcones Moon Township Ford, Keystone Wellness Program, Friendly Federal Credit Union, Dr. C. Timothy Lip, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, Patriot Home Care, Town Square Restaurant, and Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Radio and the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company, along with A.K. Nahhouse, are teaming up to present Cruisin' on the Ridge, a series of car cruises happening the third Saturday of every month this summer from noon to 4 p.m. at the Beaver County Radio Studios. First cruise, May 18th at the studio location. It's 4301 Dutch Ridge Road, Brighton Township. Beaver County Radio's Solid Gold Saturday host J.D. Merkel will be spinning tunes in the parking lot, food trucks, prize giveaways, raffles, and a 50-50 drawing. Cruisin' the Ridge is being brought to you by Falcones Moon Township Ford, eXp Realty, the Beaver County Transit Authority, Shop and Save Beer and Wine, the Rochester True Value Hardware Store, Friendly Federal Credit Union, Patriot Home Care, Fry Transportation, J. Young Refuse, A.K. Nahhouse Furniture and Appliance, the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company, and Beaver County Radio.
Do you like sports? Then tune in every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Brian is loaded with statistics and interesting sports viewpoints. The show can also be seen on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Plus, Brian will be taking your calls as well. That's One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pasquale. Every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. on Beaver County Radio.
Beaver County Transit Authority connects you to where you want to be. The doctor's office or well-deserved shopping spree will take you to wherever you please. Safe, no fuss, leave the driving to us. Hop on, adventures coming your way.
The Beaver County Transit Authority Fast Forward Summer Pass is back in 2024. The application opens online at bcta.com or in person at the Rochester Transportation Center on May 11th. The days are getting longer and the weather is warming up. Don't miss your chance to travel around Beaver County and even into Pittsburgh all summer long. Children ages 6 to 21 ride free between June 1st and August 31st.
Safe, no fuss, leave the driving to us. Adventures just a ride away. Beaver County Transit Authority, BCTA. Ride the bus.
95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WNBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com, invite you to tune in to Sounds of Faith. Tune in Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 for a mix of the best sacred music of all time. Sounds of Faith is brought to you by Crawford Tire and Beaver, the William Murphy Funeral Home, City Rescue Mission, MRS Physical Therapy, Circle of Friends, J&J Spratt Funeral Home, and Rome Monument and Inspirational Gifts. Sounds of Faith. Uplifting, relaxing, and inspiring radio. Sunday mornings from 7 until 9 on 95.7 and 99.3 FM, along with WBVP, WMBA, and BeaverCountyRadio.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Welcome back to Thinking Logically here on 99.3 WBVP, your hubtown radio station for dangerous views and opinions. Mark, we had a primary on Tuesday. I don't know if anyone went out and voted. I did. I know you probably did. I voted for Donald John Trump for president over Nikki Haley, and I voted down the ballot for Republican. Well, obviously it was a Republican primary, but voted down the ballot for all the people that we talked about in private that we like. And I was a little bit upset I didn't get to vote because he's not my district, our good friend Roman. But do you have anything on the primary elections here in Pennsylvania?
I do. We haven't not talked about this, but I wanted to ask you your take on 157,000 people voting for Nimrata Nikki Haley, Joe, 16% of the Republicans. What is your take on that?
Hey, let them vote for whoever. They're not going to be able to vote for Nikki Haley in the general election. So let's see what they do.
But will
then.
they vote for Trump?
I don't know. If they're not, hey, we got plenty of room on this Trump train. We'll go find someone else. We'll go find independents. If you want to be a rhino and don't want to get on board and want to support endless wars and a woman that wants to ban using an alias on a social media app when her real name is Namatra and she goes by Nikki Haley, then by all means, do it.
Yeah. We had approximately 23,000 people vote for someone other than Joe Biden. So that's about 12% of the Democratic voters voted for. We had 55,000 write-ins on the Democratic side. 68,000 people voted for Dean Phillips. So we'll see, I guess what happens. Dave McCormick had a good showing there. So did Bob Casey as well. But I think the turnout, from what Roman told me, that it was pretty low.
It was.
I think it was one of the lowest primary turnouts in several years.
And that's a problem. That makes me mad.
It's a presidential year.
That makes me mad because now is not the time for laziness. Get out there and vote. I don't care if it's just a primary. Show your support. The media.
No.
Make the media report on this stuff.
Yeah, and we will be having Roman Kozak, running for PA's 14th district. He will be on the show hopefully next week. Mm-hmm. So we look forward to speaking with him. And primary was kind of uneventful, kind of came and went, Joe. And again, we could turn our attention to November 5th.
All right. Okay. We got about 2 or 3 more topics I want to fly through here, and then we could talk some bread and circus. Steelers draft is tonight. Solar panels in Beaver County in Pennsylvania. Mark, they're coming. Thank you, Josh Shapiro. They're coming here. What are your thoughts on solar panels?
Well, I have them on my house. I have 17 panels on my roof. They do generate a decent amount of electricity when the sun is out, and it offsets my electric bill pretty good. And I get the solar energy credits every month, which is anywhere from $30 to $40 a month. But the only reason I got them is because of the 30% tax rebate. So I think this year my taxes, I was able to get back, several $1,000s because of that tax rebate. I think, which is in effect for 7 or 8 more years. So it makes sense to do that, but if it wasn't for the tax rebate, then obviously, I'm sure me and a lot of other people wouldn't have gone through with it.
And that's my point. When government tries to push something, it's not the direction we should be headed in. Is anyone really asking for solar panels? I don't know. Maybe some people are. But without the government getting involved, like you just said, it's possible the solar industry would be bankrupt by now. All right. This interesting news, bringing COVID back. This is from Alex Thompson on X. Fauci agrees to testify in Congress on COVID origins, pandemic policies, and other stuff, according to D. Diamond Reports. That's from the WashingtonPost.com. Should I hold my breath, Mark, or is this going to be a big nothing burger?
He'll probably say, I don't recall, to every answer. I'm not sure why he would volunteer to testify.
Well, how about
We're
this?
going to roast him on a spit.
So this is from Benny Johnson. Right after that came out, Benny Johnson alert. A Biden whistleblower, Mike McCormick, unveils that the CIA was behind the release of COVID. He quotes, "The CIA, in my opinion, was behind it. They set up the research alliance with China." And again, I don't know. We never got an answer if it came from Wuhan, if it came from a pangolin, a bat, what? I don't know. I'd like an answer. Can we ask Dr. Fauci? He's going to be under oath as a private citizen. Could be interesting. All right, and then one of our last topics of the day. Alert, this is from Inside Paper. China warns Anthony Blinken that the U.S. must choose between cooperation or confrontation. And at the same time, North Korea issued a nuclear warning signal to U.S. and South Korea. Mark, are we going to see finally North Korea step onto the world stage again after being pretty much off it in the Hermit Kingdom for the last 4 or 5 years since Trump went over there and wrote letters to him?
I feel like they're like the little brother there in the corner. Hey, everyone, look at me. Look at me, guys. I'm over here. I feel like that's North Korea. They're not going to do anything. That would be the end of the Hermit Kingdom. But
exactly.
Before we go on to our draft topic, Joe, how about we talk about sound bites and snapshots? Dan Bongino loves to use that term. This morning, another one of these organic sound bites and snapshots we saw this morning from New York City before he hit the courtroom. Donald Trump was in Lower Manhattan at a construction site visiting with, union members, something like that? And
yes.
A lifelong Democratic steam fitters union manager in New York City said he put out a poll in his union of 9,000 members, and Trump is leading Biden 3-1. And then we saw something that's going viral. We actually can't play it due to the vulgarity of it. But, he said this guy, he was a laborer there, and he said, Trump's coming back. Trump will be back. And then they said, you have a message for Joe Biden. And he said his statement, but this has gone viral on social media. So another one of those things that happen organically, Joe, sound bites and snapshots. This is another moment of great publicity and great press for Donald Trump.
Okay. I got to talk football. We got to finally switch to football. I mean, a little bit of bread and circus, like I said, never hurt anyone. We try to stay away from sports topics because on this radio network, this radio station, we have two great sportcasts. One Man's Opinion on Sports with Brian Pascal, and the Sports Corner with Ralph. What's his last name, Ryan?
Williams.
Ralph Williams. I was going to say Williamson. Ralph was on, I believe, on Tuesday, 4 to 6, and Brian's on Wednesday, 5 to 6. But we have a draft tonight. Mark, what should the Steelers do with their picks? You got about 30 to 40 seconds.
Oh, I want to see him take a Jackson Powers Johnson or Zach Frazier or Graham Barton in the first round. Give me a center. Give me an offensive lineman. Let's shore up that line.
All right, Ryan, what do you want to see the Steelers do? I'll give you about a minute.
Yeah, no, I think that the obvious move here is going after an offensive lineman. You got to stabilize your big guys up front. My concern is maybe they go after a wide receiver early. Maybe they trade up. I don't know what exactly. This is one of the first years that it's truly tricky to try to figure out what the Steelers are going to do, because we do have big holes at the wide receiver position, at the center position, at the tackle position, and even at cornerback on the other side. So I think the smart move would be stabilize the front line, get your line set. But you know what? They still have a few hours. There could be trades made. They can move up. They can move down. So it's really going to come down to the moment to see what they do.
I got to agree. I say go lineman. I think they need to address the line in this draft and fix the line. When you look at teams like Detroit, who was a terrible team 3 or 4 years ago, they fixed the line and they eventually were a Super Bowl contender. Houston, to a lesser extent, because their line was banged up, but they had a good line. They was able to protect C.J. Stroud, and they went from a 2-win team to a playoff caliber team very, very quickly. So I say shore up the line for sure, and then we can move on and be a better team. That line couldn't hold back the other team's defensive line with 50 caliber machine guns. If I was Najee Harris, I would have said, how about this? I block and you run for a little bit. See how you like it. But that's my take. I don't have anything else. I'm going to watch the draft tonight, get a little bit of bread and circles, like I said. That's all for tonight's episode. We'll be back Monday at 5 p.m. like always. Don't forget, you could also listen live on Facebook and YouTube. Just follow the Beaver County Radio page on Facebook or on YouTube. We'll be back on Monday. Thank you for listening to Thinking Logically.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.